Yes, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As in the previous panel discussion, I'd first of all like to ask each one of the panelists to tell us a little bit about themselves and their companies. Perhaps starting off with Emma.
Okay, hi, good afternoon. Thanks, Chris. So, as Danny said, VP of Distribution and Commercial Affairs at Viasat World. So, we have about, I think, 27 to 30 channels across Russia and Central and Eastern Europe. It's my responsibility to make sure our channels stay in the market and are popular and amazing, and that we're still in business. So the topic of this panel is very important to us because, yes, linear TV is alive and kicking and working very well, and because that's my job. So.
Thank you. Can we have the timer on, please? Okay. Right. Carry on then, in that case. Ekaterina, can you tell us something about yourself and again your company, please?
Thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So my name is Ekaterina. I'm working for Discovery. Discovery is the biggest pay TV provider. We have lots and lots of content across many different networks. I think the most popular that everybody is familiar with is the Discovery Channel, which has been our flagship factual content channel for many, many years now. And then we've added a lot of brands like TLC, ID Investigation Discovery, and other channels which mostly focused on real life entertainment, authentic storytelling, and factual programming. And then we've grown a lot, and I would say we've changed a lot, adding sports to our portfolio. In 2015, we acquired Eurosport, which probably most of you know, and we recently bought the Scripps channels. So my role within Discovery has changed throughout the years, but right now I am heading the distribution business development for Ukraine, Kazakhstan, Georgia, Baltics, and the rest of the CIS markets.
Thank you. György, AMC.
I don't know whether it works or not. Maybe not. Can I? Thank you. So I'm George Bálint, also György, but we do not like how our name pronounced. I'm representing AMC networks in the region for 7 years. We are operating 4 genres, several channels in the region. Unfortunately, the Balkan is a little bit limited to the kids programming and the series and movies channels like AMC and Minimax.
Okay.
And we are operating well here, let's say.
And Gregory.
Thank you. So I'm Gregory Dorcel, CEO of MARC Dorcel Group. Our company is dedicated to adult content. We manage TV station all over the world, TV station, internet website, VOD platform on IPTV, cable, and so on OTT. And we took over all the media Playboy activities all over Europe, and we have also operation in Africa, Australia, USA, Canada, and so on.
Okay, thank you. Emma, Viasat, it's undergone ownership changes not that long ago, and you launched a channel called Epic Drama 2017, I believe, end of 2017. What was your thinking behind that, and how has it gone so far?
So we launched in December 17, yeah, you're right, 18 months ago. At the time, people might think, are you crazy? You launch a linear channel, what are you doing? This isn't the in thing. But we did our homework, we looked at the gaps in the market, was there something missing? And that's where we came up with this drama channel, which is very much initially based on period drama content, very, very niche. And then as we did more and more research, we looked at the content that was available, we tested it, we expanded it then to being more of a drama channel. And I think Hamey made a very interesting point earlier about the trends in content at the moment, and content being king and drama being the queen and all the rest of it. And we really, really believe that. So we followed the trend, we followed it through, we bought top-notch high quality drama, and we took a bit of a risk launching the channel, and we've now got over 10 million subscribers, 60 operators, 14 different language versions of the channel, so it's going really well. 18 months in, and we launched the week that I had my first baby, so I know exactly how that felt and when it happened, so keeping a close eye on how it's evolving, and yeah, it was niche, it was thematic, it was linear, and it worked not only for those reasons.
But one thing I remember, because I've spoken to you about this before, one thing you mentioned to me is you used a different strategy for launching this. In other words, you launched it as an SVOD service with a linear channel.
Yeah.
Rather than the other way around.
Yeah.
What was your thinking behind that?
We know that SVOD is incredibly important. We know that operators don't have the leverage that we have to buy across maybe 20 territories, so that's where we thought we would go to the operators and say, guys, we can do this much more cheaply than you can. We can we'll provide you with 400 to 800 hours overnight of high quality drama. It's very difficult for you to go and do that and to try and compete with the SVOD providers. We don't really care which pot the money comes out of from the operator. If they say they have no money for linear, we don't really mind. We're like, we'll take it from your SVOD budget then, it's fine. We just have a great product here that will work for you. And if you want to call it SVOD, that's fine. If you want to call it linear, that's fine too. We don't mind. But the way that we positioned it was very much a sort of holistic view of content. And, you know, if SVOD comes first, that's fine.
Okay. Ekaterina, what about Discovery's strategy in the region? Because, well, I say region, you cover specific markets, CIS, I believe. Bulgaria, yes, as well?
In the past, not right
in the
now.
past, okay. Can you give me sort of an idea of it, or give us an idea of your general strategy when it comes to
So I think when it comes to linear channels, I would agree probably with Emma as well that, yes, lots of the whole TV landscape looks very different, and probably the basic package is no longer 100 channels. However, this doesn't mean that there is no more space for another linear channel. And I think as long as you are creating the type of channel, the type of content that the consumer is looking for, then there will always be a budget for it in a way, and there will always be a demand for it. So what we've seen, for example, and we took lots of our content from the US, which is no secret. And it's whatever's been working there, it seems to be working really well on most of our markets, including, Ukraine, CIS markets, but also here in Bulgaria. So I think one thing that we are preparing to do now, and which is also based on lots of research and lots of, monitoring of the TV viewership is we'll launch soon the Home and Gardening TV, which we've had in the US. It's the #3 top performing channel in the US, and now we're rolling it out across the region. It's part of the recent acquisition that we did of the Scripps portfolio. We bought the full Scripps networks. And another step, or like, let's say, another move, which proves that we still believe in the linear and we still believe in the value of factual and entertainment, real-life content. And to boost that further.
Sorry about this.
It's fine.
A flying car, though. Sounds good.
So I guess it's just another reinstatement and confirmation of the fact that, yes, we do believe in linear, and yes, there is still a demand for it, and the type of content that we are creating. I'll say we're...
Please follow the security instructions during the flying vehicle demonstration of Mr. Ansel Misfeld. It will be 20 minutes in front of the Balkan Target Summit.
Dear, carry on.
So I'll just say probably...
Whilst we're being so rudely interrupted, Home and Garden was available in Poland as part of a Scripps channel before Scripps got taken over by Discovery. And you say you're going to launch it in other countries. Do you see a big difference in the sort of how it might operate, say, in those countries compared to Poland? It's obviously a large market. Will you sort of make big changes to it, or will you use a sort of tried and trusted formula, you say?
Yeah, so what we do to make sure it's going to perform well here on our region, like what we did is we did branded blocks on TLC, which is our top performing female channel in lifestyle. So what we did is we tested with some branded blocks, and it has done amazingly well in lots of the. I think the testing is still going on, and we still have those branded blocks, and it's performed really, really well. So I think for now, in the beginning, we'll just apply what's worked really well in the US, what's worked really well in South Africa, which is a massive, big market.
Okay.
And then what's been working well in Poland. But I think Home and Garden TV opens a very big door for opportunities in experimenting in the future.
Right, okay. György, AMC in Adria, can you give me sort of an idea of what your sort of involvement is there in terms of linear channels and what exactly you're doing and the challenges you're facing? Again, it's because the Adria region, it's actually a very competitive one, as you know, and there's some big players there. What are the challenges you say AMC are facing there?
Well, the region, especially the ex-Yugoslavian countries, are dominated by SBB and Telekom Serbia and Telekom Austria mainly, and state operators. So these are the main operators who are having a really crucial fight. And our opportunity that to be the content, they can communicate, they can show that what we have. I know that it's something a little different, like in the US, that on Sundays they are waiting what will happen, Game of Thrones, Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead. But these dramas generates the discussions. And our main task is to generate here in the Adria the AMC series discussions on Mondays and Tuesdays. So that's the challenge we have, and we are working on that to have cooperation with those operators who are providing us the revenues. We can finance these dramas, so we are giving more insight to the series. We are getting closer to the viewers. It's not just the channel who broadcast a series. So that's the challenge, that's how we work.
But you are benefiting from this big competition, the fact that there are these powerful players like SBB and Telekom Serbia.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
Yes, in 20 minutes in front of the startup
Go again.
Mr. Ansel Michel will represent his flying vehicle. Please follow the instructions of the security.
Gregory, answer you.
Proszę 20 minut, czyli Ansel Michel przedstawi swojego gwiazdy przewozu sredstwo.
She hasn't finished. She goes on and on and on. Really does. Okay, I think we've got the message. Yeah, Gregory, you operate in quite a different market. What are the challenges, would you say, you're facing now, especially with the availability of free adult content on the internet, and obviously, you know, how would you structure your strategy accordingly?
So our strategy is quite simple. Yeah. Obviously, on the web, you can find whatever you want in terms of adult content, and sometimes also the content we produce ourselves is available by piracy or tube site, etc., which offer everything for free. So could be a challenge, but at the end for Dorcel, it assures us in this universe a good development. Our strategy is based on 3 points, which is brand awareness, which is very important in a digital world where everybody can access to whatever he wants, but you have to be able to refer to strong brands. The second point is, of course, the quality of the content. And the adult industry, at the end, it's a premium industry. Because most of the time we expect people to pay, and they pay a lot. Sometimes price quite expensive, and they expect a very good experience against that. And so I come to the last point. For us, the biggest challenge is to deliver a very specific experience and a very high quality experience. Could be through the quality of the content, or could be through the innovation and the technique used to deliver the contents. So market for us, usually market is divided now with low-cost offer in one end or premium offer in the other end. In the adult industry, low cost is equal to free. And so at the opposite, there is a premium market where we are. But it obliges us to deliver a very high-quality experience always. Yeah.
Right, because I remember you spoke here at Webit last year and you discussed creating a kind of an ecosystem. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, it's why since the very beginning, our first mission at Dorcel is to create and to deliver content. So after that, whatever the media, the device is, the matter for us is to deliver the good content and the content expected by the audience. So usually we develop universe on this content in order to make it available by could be linear TV channel, TVOD, SVOD, catch-up through internet websites, OTT platform, cable, IPTV, whatever. So at the end, our company is existing since 40 years now. So the technology is not very important. We have seen so many technology. So at the end, what stay only the brand and the content, and the level of the quality you deliver. The technology today it's this, tomorrow it will be something else. We are working on virtual reality. We are working on holograms. So it changes each day, faster and faster. But the most important, one time again for us, is the brand and the quality of the content.
Right. And you obviously you have this agreement with Playboy from, was it 2 years ago now? Or
yeah,
how's that working? How's that actually impacted on your business?
Now, for us, as one time again, we are oriented on quality, on the adult content. Playboy was very interesting for us because we are thinking that, of course, non-linear activity will develop more and more. And we are thinking that operator on TV channel will face a very specific evolution where the success of each program will become very important. And so we imagine a world where linear TV channel have to turn to non-linear, and then the audience will select not a channel, but they will select a content. And what will be important is the success of each content bring by a channel. In this context, in a non-linear and could be a catch-up offer, we are thinking that a good, sexy lifestyle content will be one of the most performing content in terms of number of viewing. So it's why we took over Playboy. We redevelop and change a little bit the editorial line to stick with the millennium's consummation. For us, the millennium consummation is mainly according to this sexy content on Instagram. So we came and took mainly models, Instagram producers, etc., to turn their content and to adapt it a little bit for linear TV in order to prepare a full non-linear offer adapted really to millennials' expectation.
Okay. Emma, back to you. What challenges do you face at Viasat in terms of content acquisition?
I think it's the ongoing challenge of making the right decisions about what you're going to invest in. I think that's across the board generally, not just us, but drama is very, very expensive. So if you want exclusive rights, you want the holdbacks that you want, you have to be prepared to pay. And there's more competition now than ever with other SVOD players. So that's a big one, you know, the cost of content. And alongside that, in our business, of course, we've got 14 to 17 languages, depending on the content, to version as well. So that's very, very expensive. It's a challenge, yes, but also there's tons and tons of really great content out there. So you can look at it in two ways. And the benefit of being an acquisition house rather than somebody who produces their own content is we can change it up and swap it out and use it get rid of it after a year or 2 years, whereas people who produce their own content sometimes have to really sweat that asset and use it over and over again. So that part is not necessarily a challenge, but we do end up having to pay a little bit more. So I guess the challenge is perhaps more with the operators. So we try and help the operators as much as we can to give them what they need to meet the competition.
Can you see yourselves launching an epic drama too? Can you see yourself developing a sort of a portfolio of channels in that area? And do you ultimately see yourself as a possible, or maybe not competitor to Netflix, but an alternative to Netflix in certain genres?
So no, I don't think, I mean, Epic 2 is certainly something, you know, we will look at and are looking at, but I think, you know, Netflix is not something we would ever dream of competing with. But as I said, we will work closely with the operators and say, guys, what do you need to help you compete with Netflix or sit on your platform alongside Netflix? So we're more of a feeder from that perspective than an actual B2C proposition. So we're just not in that game. We're not going to spend that kind of money because I just think we can do it in a different way. It's my turn. The flying car sounds good though, doesn't it?
Hi, Ekaterina. Sports is obviously a big issue for Discovery, being the owner of Eurosport and sports rights in particular. Could you perhaps tell us something about that and the challenges you face?
So I think, you know, acquiring Eurosport was a challenge of its own, because you know, we've always occupied the storytelling and the documentary genre, and sports is a live genre, very different, and you know, acquiring it and finding out how to manage it was a challenge of its own. And then when it comes to content acquisition, then the sports mechanics and the business behind it, it's very different, very, very expensive. I think what we've managed to do really well is do some unprecedented deals, like, for example, acquiring the Olympic rights for the whole of Europe. This is something that was never possible before that. And Eurosport is the first broadcaster to acquire exclusively for almost all of Europe 2 consecutive cycles of the Olympic Games, which basically made us the home of the Olympics. And it was a big challenge, of course. We had to deal with pay TV distribution, we had to deal with free-to-air distribution, online OTT distribution, but at the same time we were in a position that allowed us to create a completely different new level of experience, to leverage the scale that we had, to bring a new viewership, innovative experience. So I think it was a very the first Winter Olympics that we had in South Korea were a very big success, but it was also lots of learning lessons that we're eager to apply now in Tokyo 2020.
Okay. Suppose now sort of throw it discussion more open, and how you sort of generally see the future of thematic linear channels, especially in Central and Eastern Europe, actually, you know, and how do you see the future in 5-10 years' time for such services? Because we are living in an environment, in a media environment, where things are changing extremely quickly. Do you think there is a future for thematic linear channels in this day and age? Anybody?
No, I think that's, you know, it's already 10 years we are involved on VOD. And we see that at the end, we have a good development and a better development than what we expect on linear TV than on VOD. So I'm thinking that yes, there is still a very good future for linear TV, but obviously number of thematic linear TV should reduce, because let's say that today a reality is that more than 50% of the thematic linear TV proposed are not interesting enough for the audience. And if you propose on a standalone basis all these channels, most of them will never meet any subscriber. So at the end, I think that the number of thematic channels will reduce dramatically, but the audience will focus on a reduced offer, but of a much better quality, with reference brand, and also with a very specific universe. And then what we are thinking is that the concept will not be anymore linear, non-linear, etc. It will be what is the universe bring or represented by this brand or this brand or this brand. When you will want a specific sport, you will refer to a specific brand. When you will refer to this kind of experience, you will refer to another one. It will be few words like that with referential experience.
Do others agree with that? George?
Well, I would say that the vision is that we will have a screen at home and something goes in, whether it's a Wi-Fi data or a fiber, and our aim is and our goal is that our content should be on the screen and monetized the right way with the partners. So that's the goal. Whether it's a linear TV or not, I wouldn't say so now. What is the prediction? We heard a presentation today when they said that the non-linear mobile TV consumption increased. So it's not eating the regular linear TV, rather increasing by 5 hours the watching time.
Yeah.
So that means that linear is still alive, still in good health. And I would say that still, based on the human selection, let's say that I'm going home, I'm having an IPTV, and I'm spending 30 minutes by selecting one movie to watch. And the people doesn't like this because they are wasting time. So what they do after a long day, they go home and watch something on TV. So still, if you don't have a particular content to watch, let's say your content, or we have like The Walking Dead or Game of Thrones or whatever, or sports, then you are watching something on TV and you are surfing on linear. And I don't think that it will die. Maybe there will be some modification on it, but still the people want to watch linear rather than selecting their own content. Also, if the business model would change, that would be more higher cost to select my own content, like transactional VOD. I think that's why the SVOD is now will be increasing, as the operators are trying to select all the contents and just charge one fee.
Right. So you think there's a big future for SVOD?
I think that the people doesn't want to pay per content, pay per view. Just a couple of countries are what are developed in these terms of consumption can use that opportunity. The others will stay as it is. I'm paying something like from 20 euros to 50 euros. And having all the 4P from the operator. And I don't need to select my modules separately. Yeah. So I would say that's the future still, that we are not, how to say, directly know what we want. Especially we cannot commit 3 channels, 5 channels. What if on another channel will be something I want to watch?
Yeah.
So,
sure.
Because of this kind of sociology, I would say that linear TV is still alive and will live
for a long time? Or?
Well, I would say for the next, in this region, for the next 5 years, yes, for sure.
Right. Ekaterina, how do you feel?
Yeah, I think there's a typical or a specific viewer who's always going to be on the linear TV, and this viewer is always going to be there. It may be a smaller number than it's now, but there's always going to be a specific viewer who doesn't want to choose for himself and who wants to enjoy the linear TV as it is. This doesn't mean that we, originally starting from linear distribution wouldn't evolve. And what we're doing now, what Viasat is doing, what everyone's doing, focusing on the digital transformation of our businesses, and by being focused on all things digital and leveraging our content across different OTT platforms and having our own OTT platforms on different markets, it's definitely something that's going to grow and evolve. But it's in parallel, and it's always going to be in parallel with the linear, which I think there is a very stable demand for it, and it's going to stay.
Yeah. Emma, what would you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think sometimes, it's cool to say, oh, linear's dead, there's no future in it, but I think we underestimate the people who actually pay the bills. They're still maybe the older generation or people over 40. Is that
really?
It's me. But they're still the people who pay the bills, right? So, and they're still paying for pay TV, and they still like to lean back and switch on the remote and see what's there. And I think as long as you've got the VOD to support it, slowly people will begin to change their habits. But I think, and 5 years is a long time, as we know, in TV. I think we're probably safe for that period of time, for sure. But no, it's definitely still...
It's another speaker. Welcome. Well, welcome indeed. Yeah, I think the point I was actually trying to get to, actually, and I mentioned this in the earlier panel I moderated this afternoon, is that there's been a big shift in people's awareness of video, and that in a way is impacting, in my view at least, on pay TV, for instance, compared to OTT. OTT's been incorporated into pay TV in many respects now, because people expect to see video anywhere on any device. You look at the popularity. I'm not just talking about, say, Netflix, but going on YouTube, instantly you can watch video. Yeah, and to me, it almost appears that linear pay TV is like the ultimate layback TV, just sitting down after a hard day's work on your couch and just chilling, watching it.
And it's trusting that destination, isn't it? So if you trust the brand, you know what you're going to get, roughly.
If you know exactly what you're going to watch, whether it's Dorcel or whether it's Epic Drama or Eurosport or AMC channel, yeah, I agree. We're kind of running out of time and also being aggressively attacked by this to my left. Are there any questions from the audience, by the way, before? Please. Can we have a mic here, please? To this lady at the front.
Thank you so much. First of all, thanks for being here, guys, and giving you a little bit of a sneak peek of, what are you doing in each one of your businesses. My question is there like a strategy, and would you mind? Sorry. That's what she said. Should probably wait, yeah.
I wish you all the luck. It's kind of a windy weather today.
I really apologize for that. I mean, they're starting a bit earlier than planned. So
it's totally fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Be louder. Yes,
speak
be louder.
Speak
just
louder
not
than
obnoxious, only loud.
Yes.
I can do that.
Shout.
Enjoy this.
Right.
Enjoy.
We see one of the demos with
I don't think he's going to shut up. So
okay.
This is planned. So
my question is, and I really like how Ekaterina made a parallel with the strategies in the US and how the successful ones you guys are bringing here, and that's amazing. In the States, they do integrate a lot the linear and the digital. Can you guys share and shed some light in what are you doing in kind of bridging linear and digital for your
Yes, so that question is what are you doing to integrate linear and digital as is the case in the States, for instance?
So I'll go first, quickly. So we acquire the rights. We buy everything an operator could want. We buy on-demand catch-up. You can put it on a phone, on the back of a toaster, on a TV, wherever you want to put these rights, we buy them. And then it's up to the operator then to develop their platform sufficiently to utilize those rights. Some markets are absolutely flying and they're way ahead. They're like the US and in the Nordics in particular. I was in Finland last week and some of the things I saw were just unbelievable. They were so progressive. And then in other markets we work in, we send them tons of VOD, but they don't put it on the platform because the platform can't support it. And these are big platforms. So we get the content, we give them everything they want, and then we just hope that they use it.
Anyone else?
I think it's a good example I can do with sports. And I think that's anyway an exciting topic. So what we do when it comes to digital strategy and live sports is we create verticals of sports. We create something like ecosystem for super fans. So for example, okay, we have tennis on the linear, but then we buy so much more than we can show on the linear. There is lots of extra content that's available on the digital platforms, like Eurosport Player, for example. So fans will know that Eurosport is the home of the 4 Grand Slams in Europe. They know that they can go to the player and they can get all of the extra content, extra angles, extra cameras, additional coverage, more courts at the same time, and to really feel at home with the Eurosport Player and the tennis. And it's a similar thing we're doing with other sports like golf and cycling.
I think we're being attacked by sounds from everywhere else.
How else are you going to remember this panel otherwise?
But yes, I just like to thank the panelists and thank you all for attending this. So thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and really apologies for the noise outside, but this is a festival.